Hey, what's up, guys? It's Randall from OddsJam, back with you today for a beginner's tutorial, I guess, if you will. There's going to be something here for everybody, so stick with me. Even if you are not a beginning sports bettor, hopefully, if you're a user of OddsJam, I can show you something that you were not aware that existed, or I can at least show you some features that exist on OddsJam as well. So tune in. We're going to I've got a brief slideshow here. I'm not going to touch on everything in there. I don't want to bore some of you with things that you already know. But if you are a beginning sports bettor, as I roll through this brief slideshow, like I said, I'm not going to touch on every point. But if you want it, just shoot me an email, randall@oddsjam.com. I will email it over to you, share it with you so that you can see it. And then you can, like I said, read through it, see how it goes. So we'll go ahead and share my screen. Like I said, I've created this slideshow here. How to become a profitable sports bettor with OddsJam. So a little bit about me, or actually the first thing is you need multiple sports books. All right. If you do not have multiple sports books, you are not going to be profitable. The best way to use OddsJam is to have multiple sports books at your disposal so that you can line shop, so that you can take advantage of all the plus EV bets, all of the arbitrage bets, whatever it is that you are trying to do, even if it is just line shopping. So get multiple sports books. Those links are below in the description. Check those out. Make sure you have every sports book in your state. So a little bit about me. I've been sports betting for the last 11 years. I'm a former teacher. For those of you that have tuned into prior streams, or if you've joined OddsJam since my time here, you've probably heard that story. So I am a former teacher. My goal with this today is to obviously have you leave with something that makes you a more profitable sports bettor, even if it is just one thing. Back in 2017, I finished tied for 30th. Out of 2,700 plus in the Westgate Las Vegas Supercontest, and now the head of customer success at OddsJam. So those of you that you're probably looking at this thinking, why in the hell is this on the screen? All right. Sports betting vocabulary. Again, not going to run through all of these. I know some of you already know this, but just some key terms that you need to know in sports betting when you are making bets. What does it mean? Why are they important? So again, just going to highlight a couple of those and we'll continue rolling through. So again, ATS is against the spread. Oftentimes refers to the point spread and oftentimes a team's record against the spread. Closing line, talk about this all the time. It's the final odds of a game before it starts. The line will often move up or down throughout the week. Cover. So what is a cover? If a team is favored by 10 points, for example, the Lakers, and they win by 14, they would have covered the spread. The dog or the underdog is represented by a plus sign. The favorite is represented by a minus sign. A future is something that you can place on a champion of a sport, conference, or division. Let's see here. A hook is a half a point. So 5.5, 7.5, 9.5. Juice or the VIG, we talk about this a lot. It's the cut or the amount charged by a sports book. Live betting is betting on a game real time that has changing odds. Speaking of live betting, you can purchase a live betting pass on OddsJam, $9 a day, get you access to all of the plus EV bets, as well as the live arbitrage bets. A lock, a can't miss bet, guaranteed winner. Okay, there is no such thing. I see all these clowns on Twitter, all these clowns on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, guaranteed winner lock, all BS, all nonsense, doesn't exist. If you hear something that is off the board, it just means that the books have removed it due to unusual circumstances. Could be an injury, could be, weather. All of those things could play a factor for a game going off the board. It happened this year when Aaron Rodgers was supposed to play in Kansas City and he tested positive for COVID and ended up not playing. So they took the game off the board. Looking here, just kind of scrolling through, sharp is someone who is a professional sports bettor or just someone who makes sharp bets. A stake is the amount of money that's wagered on a sporting event. Home field advantage, just some things to take note of when you are sports betting. NFL home field advantage is worth 3 points. College football, 0 to 3 points, depending on the stadium and the team. NBA college basketball, anywhere from 2 to 7 points, depending again on the stadium and the team. Home court advantage for, let's say, William and Mary is not going to be as big as it would be for, let's say, a school like North Carolina. Continuing on, money line here, just an example. You can see the Ravens in this example, minus 375. This would mean you need to bet 375 to win 100. If you bet 100 on the Browns and they were to have won, you would receive 290 plus your 100 that you put up. Those of you that are bored with this, bear with me. Almost done. Not going to spend forever on this. Spread. So +8, -8. You can see that on the Browns. That is the spread. Bucks, Celtics there, -5.5, +5.5. This determines the favorites and the underdogs. Run line, puck line, -1.5, +1.5 is pretty standard for baseball. So team needs to either win by 2 runs or lose by less than 2 runs. Over under, you can see here in this example, 49.5. It's either going to go over or going to go under. And that's how you bet on that, based on if you think the game goes over or under. Parlays are a series of bets in which all bets must win in order to be paid out. I consider these to be lottery tickets. A lot of times now on sportsbooks, if you place a parlay bet, some will give you the option to cash out early if some of your other bets have won. You can use the OddsJam Plus EV page to build profitable parlays. You see all these ridiculous parlays on Twitter, but we don't see any of the losing tickets, which is always intriguing. This is probably the most important slide to me, and something that I think all of you need to hear. What is a bankroll and what is a betting unit? A bankroll is any amount of money that you have set aside strictly for gambling. Okay. It's not, if you lose it, it has no impact on your life. If you don't have a bankroll, then you just quite simply do not need to be betting. It is really that important. If you don't have a bankroll, it can get you into a lot of trouble. Flat betting versus scaled betting. Flat bettors bet the same amount on every game that they bet. Scaled betting, or scaled bettors, however you want to say it, they will bet a different percentage of their bankroll on each game, depending on what they see, what they like. Recreational bettors, probably most sports bettors, generally bet for fun. They don't care if they win or lose. They just want to watch the game on TV. They don't care, like I said, about profit and loss. They have no bankroll management. Professional sports bettors or sharp sports bettors are those people that are using OddsJam. They have systems, strategies. They're beating the closing line, all of those things that lead to being a profitable sports bettor. Again, pretty similar here. Square bettors would fall into the category of a recreational bettor, oftentimes taking favorites in the overs, love to parlay games, all of the things that the sports books love. Real quick, I have a trend in the NFL that I wanted to share with you guys. It hits at 70% since I have been tracking it. It came up one time this year in the NFL. And in this example, you can see here, I don't know if it's big enough, but the Eagles, 3 road games in a row here. They played at Minnesota, at Dallas, and then they played at Buffalo. They lost, did not cover against Minnesota. They lost, did not cover against Dallas. And then the third road game, they were catching, I believe, 6.5 in this game, and they won outright. So anytime a team does not cover 3 straight road games or 3 straight home games, I like to bet that team in that third spot. It only happened once this year in the NFL, so it was not actually profitable. The one time that it did happen, like I said, it did not win. But enough of that. Don't want to bore you with a slideshow. That's probably not what most of you are here for. So going to hop over to the OddsJam website. And the first thing that I want to point out is the Getting Started guide. If you're new to OddsJam, or even if you've been with us for a while, go through here, take a look. A lot of useful information here. Talks about free bet conversions, how to use the middle tool, how to find the best odds with OddsJam, real-time bet tracking. I mean, everything you need to know on how to use this website is right here. We do live streams every day. You can watch those. We utilize all of these tools every single day on the live stream. So tune into those or come to this page. If you just scroll to the very bottom of the page, it's right here, product help, getting started guide, frequently asked questions guide, all kinds of information here for you to take a look at. We also have the Sharp betting blog. You can come here, say you want to learn about, I don't know, let's say free bets. So you type that in. Might help if I spell that correctly, not two T's. So you type in free bets, and I mean, then you can click here. I mean, what are free bet conversions? We've got a video. We explain how it all works. So anything you're looking for betting wise, I mean, you can find it here. This FanDuel insurance promo for the NHL. This is something they do quite often. If you want to know more about it, click it. You can read into it. A lot of different things here for you to view. Even if, you know, this article is October 15th, it is still valuable when it comes to boxing odds and sports betting 101. So you can take a look at those things and help make yourself a better sports bettor. Going to hop over here to the positive EV page. If you are not a member of the industry plan, you do not have access to this. If you're on the arbitrage plan, I would strongly encourage you to check this out. If you're making a ton of money there, you could be making even more money here. So as you can see, these are all the opportunities in Illinois that are plus EV bets currently. Alex was just on here ripping through, taking advantage of all the ones that are out there. So be on here, check these out. One thing that I want to point out, and we talk about this all the time, is market width. How do you determine what the market width is? This column right here where it says books, totally irrelevant in regards to determining the market width. You are focusing on this far right column. You're looking at both of these numbers, minus 144, plus 125. This is a 19-cent difference here in the market width. Minus 136, plus 113. This is 23 cents. Minus 136, plus 102. This is 34 cents. All right. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Not really, but it does confuse people. Minus 119, minus 102. This is not, let me repeat, this is not 17 cents. This is actually 21 cents. All right. So when you have two negatives, it's not the difference in those. So I guess to be a teacher here, take the 2, cross over 0, and then add it to the 19. I'm not a math teacher, never was, but that's the easiest way I can explain it. So when you have two negatives, this is 21 cents difference here in the market width. Let me just try to find another one that has two negatives. So here we go, minus 101, minus 122. That is 23 cents difference. Okay. 23 cents difference there in the market width. We've got over under 6 goals in the Penguins Kraken game today at 6. This is a 13-cent difference here in the market width. On FanDuel, it's plus 114. You can see Bet Online minus 117, Pinnacles minus 117. So the value in this play, Pinnacle is giving you plus 104. FanDuel is giving you plus 114. So the under 6 would be a profitable bet in this particular instance. So let me go back up to the top. I'm just going to refresh and I'm going to just show you where the profitable bets are. So 23-cent difference here. This Caesars, Cal State Northridge plus 14, 5% of expected value. That is a profitable bet on Cal State Northridge plus 14. Karl Anthony Towns, you've got a 34-cent difference here in the market width. The over 9.5 rebounds, minus 105 on Caesars, would be considered the profitable bet. Penguins, Kraken, under 6.5, 17-cent difference here in the market width, minus 110 on Pinnacle. One thing that you can do is you can click into this, though, and you can compare all of these books. So you can compare Bookmaker if you have the Platinum plan, or you can just compare other books. So, I mean, you can see that the under pretty well everywhere else is minus 121, minus 120, minus 130 at Caesars. you are getting minus 110 on FanDuel. So this is a very, very profitable bet. If I were not doing this live stream, I would be betting this under 6.5 right now. So if you are following along and you're just listening, under 6.5 in the Penguins Kraken game, a lot of value, great bet, almost 4% EV there. So that's market width. That's how you read it. So here, plus 128, minus 150, 22-cent difference in the market width, plus 145 on these three books. Pinnacle's only giving you plus 128. So that means there is value, 3.46% on these three books on Arkansas State money line, plus 145. Now, you ask, what is the ideal range for market width? I like to look for anything between 15 and 25 cents. I'll go back over this here a little bit later on because I do have some questions specifically about market width. So I will definitely touch on that again. But market width is very, very important to me. I pay a lot of attention to it. I like for that to be in between 15 and 25 cents. I will bet it if it is higher than that, but 15 to 25 cents is kind of what I'm looking for. Now, some people ask, well, what if it's lower? So here's a perfect example. 14 cents, under 219.5, Hawks Celtics, minus 110 on WinBet. I would be all over this. 2.6% expected value, and it is a super tight market. Anything under 15 cents, I am betting for more than what I would say the 15 to 25 cent range. And I'll get more into that again here in just a little bit. Hopping over here to the middles page, if you want to utilize this to play through some bonuses that you have, you can use that. You can see this is a negative return, but it does give you the chance to potentially middle this game. I mean, this is a half a point, so it's very, very unlikely that this hits, but you can see you can use this for that particular reason, and you can use the low holds page for the same exact reason, and you can look for holds that have 0%. You can actually sort this by percentage. So, I mean, all of these have 0% low holds. So if you're trying, again, to play through some money, you can do that with this page. Or let's say, for example, you have a $100 free bet on DraftKings. You can click this. You can sort by conversion percentage, and you can find how to turn your $100 free bet into $77. So you would put a $100 free bet on the plus 450. You would need to put 372 on the minus 480. I would probably not do this because it's a player prop. I'd probably look more at this particular play here with the Rams 49ers. I would point out also, depending on the book, I would always make sure when you're converting these free bets to cash that there is a hook on here. We talked about that earlier. If this were 56 and it landed 56, some books will just void the free bet and then you lose it. So you're not out any money, but you don't make any money. So take a $5 loss and guarantee yourself that you're actually going to get your money if all that you have is round numbers or whole numbers without the hook. So just keep that in mind when you are turning those free bets into cash. And then the last page is the arbitrage page. So, I mean, you've got a live arb here. And as I mentioned, those are $9 a day. Here's the Bucks Knicks direct arb to Pinnacle over 213, minus 110 on WinBet. Solid profitable bet here on the over. Spurs plus 2.5. Looks like that is a direct arb again to Pinnacle, the sharpest book in the world. So Spurs plus 2.5 definitely has some value there as well. And then the last thing that I want to show you, or actually I'm going to show you two more things, is you can compare odds. So, I mean, you can come here to the football page and you can click on this Chiefs-Bengals game and you can look at all of the sports books and you can see what the lines are, what the market's doing. Again, if you have the platinum plan, you can look at Bookmaker. You can see all of these sharp books to kind of help you form your betting decision whenever you are doing this. So, I mean, you can see Bookmaker has the Chiefs minus 125, minus 7. You can get Chiefs minus 110 on Heritage, PointsBet, or WinBet. So, I mean, based on that and based on Pinnacle being at minus 117, Chiefs minus 7, pretty solid bet just based on these sharper books. BetOnline has them minus 119 as well. So not telling you to go and bet the Chiefs, but based on the market and based on what I'm seeing right now, Chiefs -7, -110 on win bet, points bet definitely has some value. I'm actually going to be rooting for the Bengals in this one. But you have to take that out of your mind or of your mindset whenever you are sports betting. You cannot have that bias. It's very important to ignore all of that. So being able to compare odds, you can do that again with or without a plan. If you have a plan, though, you can see Bookmaker, Bet Online, these books that are a little bit sharper. You can see that with the Platinum plan. And then the last place that I'm going to go, and then like I said, I've got some questions that I'm going to answer, is the arbitrage calculator. So you can come here, you can manually put those in. I do want to show you that you can also do it on this page, so you don't have to keep going back and forth. We have that there for you. We have the expected value calculator, which is on the EV page already. It's a calculator on the left. Let me just show you that really quickly. If you click this calculator, you can see it's telling you this is a 56% win percentage on this particular play. -110, 8%. It's telling you to bet 8% of your bankroll. I will talk about that here in just a little bit because I know some people have some questions about that. Free play calculator, that's the same one as on the low holds page. Kelly calculator, going to come back to that here in just a second. The no vig fair odds calculator. So let's say Pinnacle is -129 and +110. You can see that the fair odds should be -118 or +118 based on removing the vig from the line at Pinnacle. So you can do that. Odds converter calculator, if you want to go decimal to American, American to decimal, parlay calculator, and then the vig calculator. So that is pretty well it on OddsJam. I do want to point out the bet tracker. You can see I placed 2 bets earlier today on the live stream. They are now worse than what the closing line is with Pinnacle. So I could cash these out. I'm going to talk about this here in just a second and why I would or would not cash these out. Have had a lot of people ask about that. But one thing I do want to show you is on the bet tracker, you can turn notifications on so you can get emailed when the closing line becomes worse than what Pinnacle is. So that is pretty well it. However, stick with me. I've got some questions here that I'm going to address, and there are going to be some things that I think can help some of you. So let me just pull my computer up over here. So Max had asked me a question about the Kelly calculator and bankroll management. How much do you bet to manage risk? How many bets should you place per day? Is there a percentage of your bankroll that you bet each day, or a max percentage of your total bankroll? So just to address those individually, the Kelly calculator it can be used as a suggestion. So if you go in here to the plus EV page, you click on the settings and you come down here to the positive EV, you can see that here's the Kelly calculator and you can input your bankroll. Okay. So whatever your bankroll is, you can put that in here. You can change the multiplier if you want. You can save your changes. And then every single bet that you make, if you use this calculator, it will tell you what you should be betting based on your bankroll, based on the win percentage, based on the odds of Pinnacle. So that's how you use the calculator. It's pretty well, it's a guide as to something you can use. My preference for how I do it is I basically break it down in the sense of market width. So for me, I will go, so like right here is 19-cent difference here in the market width. That would be a 2% play for me. So 1% for me is anything that's 26 cents and above. 2% is something in that 15 to 25 range. And then 3% is lower than 15. So 14 or less is how I utilize that. So, you can use this calculator as a guide, or you can set something up very similar to what I did. It's kind of totally up to you. As far as how many bets you should place a day, with positive EV betting, the more you can bet, the better. As Alex has said multiple times, it's not something you come through here and you just bet every single play you see. I mean, you can look into these, you can see what the other sports books have as far as value goes, and if it makes sense to bet it, kind of based on some of the other sports books. Looking here, the Spurs is a play plus 115 or plus 120 on WinBet. You can see everywhere else is giving you worse odds. So the Spurs on the money line definitely has some value there. And then is there a percentage of your bankroll that you bet each day, or a max percentage? For me, not really. I just go through here. I try to get as many bets as I can down that make sense in regards to market with and what I'm looking for. So that's kind of how I attack that. Bucks Knicks here, 14-cent difference here in the market with over 214. This would be a 3% play for me. It's 3% expected value. And how about that? It's telling you it's 3% for the suggested bet size. Give me just a second. My daughter just called me. Okay, she doesn't know that I'm recording. All right. Let's see here. So odds limits. OddsJam will show plus EV plays with plus 1,000 odds, but if an investor is looking for steady gains over time and not necessarily lottery ticket plays, do you limit to plus 150, plus 200, plus 300? So great question. For me, I like to stick somewhere in the range of, say, minus 140, minus 150 to plus 200, give or take. Not to say that you can't bet those other ones. It just might introduce a little bit more variance. Market width, again, I know there was recently a video on that, and 20 to 25 cents seems like a good consensus for a non-player prop, but I also want to make sure I'm calculating that correctly. So just to touch on that again, holy crap. Spurs here, 10-cent difference here in the market width. Spurs plus 120 win bet, 3% here would be what I would be betting on this particular game. It is actually telling you to bet 4%. So it's pretty close. I mean, the Kelly calculator, based on what I've got input in there, I mean, that's not my actual bankroll, that $1,000. But my point is you can kind of play around with that to fit what it is you're looking for. I mean, here again, 14-cent difference, plus 2.5. I mean, Spurs seems like a really, really good play tonight. So market width, back to that. I mean, again, calculating it, plus 110, minus 135, 25 cents. And then remember, if you have two that are negative or two that are the favorite, minus 105, minus 115, this would be 20 cents. Okay. So that's how you calculate that. As far as strategy for which games to bet or what types of bets to make, like halftime bets. So, I mean, you can see here, first half spread. I typically focus more on the full game. Not to say that I won't bet the first half money lines, but some of these games are a little bit smaller. Houston Baptist versus New Orleans. Not sure how many people are actually betting that game. In fact, there's probably about an equal number of people betting on that game that will actually be at this pathetic game tonight. So that's kind of my strategy. I mean, first half total points. I mean, I know Alex bet one earlier, and I actually bet it with him as well. I think it's off the board. No, it is not. So I bet this one with him as well. I mean, it's an NFL game. It's first half, but it's 12-cent difference here in the market with plus 100 on FanDuel. So, I mean, I bet that tight market. It's first half. So just kind of using, again, market width to kind of shape what I am looking to do. I know that lines move throughout the day and new lines can be posted at any time. However, to avoid the line moving against you, do you try to bet on games closer to the start? So for me, I do like to try to bet on them as close as I can to the start. However, if the market is super tight, I mean, I'm not going to pass on a play. Just a prime example, yesterday, I took the Clippers and the Magic over 212.5. It was I think it was like 11 cents difference, early morning. Bet it. The line moved to 213.5. The game landed 213. So I I think it's just, again, it all relies on the market width. It's so important. I talk about it every stream. Some of you are probably sick of hearing it already on this stream, but that is how important it is to me. And that's, I mean, it matters to me. This game here, Spurs, again, we've been on this one constantly. I'm actually, while I'm on this live stream, I won't share my screen and bet it here, but I'm going to bet it on my phone. So I'm going to log in here to DraftKings, and I'm going to bet the Spurs on the money line for a 3% play. You can see that I guess this game is it tomorrow? Yeah, it's tomorrow. So going to go ahead and bet that. Some very good value there. So bet that game. Lock that in. You can see, you click the calculator, it's telling you about 2%. So as far as that goes, like games a week in advance, I will do that a lot in the NFL. These lines can be super tight, and they can be super efficient by Monday morning, Tuesday morning. So I'm definitely not hesitant to bet those that far out in advance. One example this year, Bengals plus 3.5. I bet it on Monday morning. I knew I was going to be on it against the Packers. And if you remember that game, the Packers won that game by 3. So the line actually closed 2.5. So very, very important that I got on that, and I got on that early. If a line moves against you, when does it make sense to cash out? So I mentioned this earlier, told you I'd come back to it. For me, I mean, I'm looking for anywhere from a 10 to 20 cent difference to cash out. This is 2 cents here, 4 cents here. So, I mean, it's not, or I say 2 cents. I'm sorry. This was, I believe, like minus 125 whenever I bet it. So, I mean, it is important to note what it is when you bet it, because that could trigger a huge move. This one, I believe, was like minus 120. So this might be one that I maybe would want to consider cashing out. It was 15 cents. But knowing what that number is when you bet it is very important, just because you can kind of calculate that move and see what it is. So for me, I mean, anything between 10 and 20 cents movement is really could be troubling, simply because there could be an injury that happened, or something like that. A key guy's not playing. This example you said, so if you bet $25, is it worth losing $3 to cash out? I mean, again, it's kind of up to you as the sports bettor. You can kind of, again, you could go in and see, like, we can go in and check this Austin P. Belmont. I'm not going to, but you can go in and check this, and you can see what the line is at all the other books. I mean, if it's totally, dipped super, super low, maybe you do in fact cash that out. What other resources, if any, do you use besides the OddsJam plus EV page to place a bet? I know Randall uses the ESPN page to provide some balance. So if you're new, I do like to use this ESPN page. It gives you some projected scores for college basketball. This is not required at all. It's not necessary to be successful. It's just something for like the smaller market games that I do like to use. Another thing that I like to use are the ratings from Kenny White. He's a former odds maker. He goes through here and he sets a line for every single game, every single day. He used to do this for a living, so he knows what he's doing. But I like to compare this with, like I said, the smaller schools that maybe are not as heavily bet, just to maybe get even a little bit greater edge when it comes to the positive EV page. Again, not required, because you're obviously already getting value with Pinnacle and the market. Just something that I like to do personally. What is the P, and why is it on the arbitrage page whenever I cannot bet it? So get that question a lot. What this means is this is a direct arb to Pinnacle. So if I could bet on Pinnacle, I could bet $300 here. I could bet $250 on the other side and make a risk-free $11.59. So what this means is this guy right here, Alexander, no clue how to say his last name, probably didn't even say his first name right, but minus 115. This is a profitable bet. So if you click it, you can see he's minus 144 on Pinnacle. So this is a direct arb to Pinnacle. He has a lot of value here at minus 115. So If you don't want to see this, all you have to do is click your settings and nope, I apologize. You do not. You have to come here and you would have to type in OddsJam to get that off of your page. And now it's gone, but because I have the platinum plan, now I need to go and remove Pinnacle. So that's how you would exclude it. You would just type in OddsJam. If you don't have the platinum plan, you just type in OddsJam and it will be removed. If you do have the platinum plan, you need to remove the OddsJam Perfect Line and Pinnacle, both the same. Which leads me to, how do you exclude books? So underneath your profile in the top right corner, you can click your My Profile. You go to Books to Exclude, and then you just type in whatever books you want to exclude, and then you save your changes. How do you set up email alerts? Many people don't even know that these email alerts even exist. Arbitrage here, email notifications. You just have to turn these on. You turn them on, you hit save, you're automatically going to be notified when there are arbitrage opportunities that meet this minimum percentage. Same thing with the middles page. What do you want that percentage to be? Turn those email notifications on. Same thing with the positive EV page. What do you want those settings to be? Turn those email notifications on. Bet tracker, why is it not grading my bets? So we're currently working on that to where hopefully it will be grading them for you. But as of right now, you have to manually grade them on your own. You just click the pencil, you click bet status, won or lost, and then you just click save. So that's how you grade your bets. Someone asked the other day, how do I delete all of my bets? If you just click this right here, you can click delete all. Okay. So that's how you can delete your bets if you want to get rid of them from last year, or whatever the case is. So that's how you would do that. One thing that I wanted to talk about, or at least one strategy that I use in college basketball, and I kind of combine it with the EV page. And it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to always happen. But I do it a lot whenever I'm comparing just the odds of games. So for college basketball, I like to look at teams who are seeking revenge. And I'm going to give you two examples, one of them that won, one of them that lost, just to show you that it's not 100%. So just the other night, Hartford played at Binghamton and they lost by 10. Okay. Just yesterday, Hartford was a 6-point favorite. They ended up winning that game, I believe, by 14. So they played the game, and then 2 days later they played again, only Hartford was at home. Hartford was also favored in the first game, and they ended up losing. They were a 4-point favorite, and so you were getting them at a little cheaper price. You were getting them with some revenge on their minds. So that's an example of where it worked. And what I would do in that instance is I would go to the odds page, I would look for that game, and I would just make sure that I'm not going against the market. I would make sure that I'm at least in line with it, or that it's somewhat close. And then another example where it actually lost, Kansas against Texas Tech. Kansas played at Texas Tech a couple of weeks ago. They lost by 8. They were a 7.5-point favorite the other night. They won that game by 3. So it doesn't always translate to a cover, but maybe there was some value on Kansas money line. It's just something you have to look for. So that's one of my angles in college basketball, is the revenge factor. I think it's very, very big, especially when it is a short turnaround. And one more question here. I have a question about EV betting. I got that. I get more value, but what side of the bet should I be on? The one with the best odds, or do I research bets from there? So whenever you're doing this, you are looking for the best odds in comparison to Pinnacle. So you can see Pinnacle has minus 136. You can get minus 105. So you are just basically looking for a better number than what Pinnacle is offering you. So they're offering you the Spurs tomorrow plus 104. You can get that at plus 115 on DraftKings. I would assume, just by the way this is kind of trending, that if you bet this game on DraftKings, which I did just a bit ago on my phone here, that they will probably offer you a cash out on this particular game. It really seems to be trending towards the Spurs in this particular game. So that is pretty well it as far as the live stream goes. I placed some bets earlier today. I do that every single day. You can tune in there. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're late, I did do a brief slideshow presentation on some beginning tips for sports bettors, or just some common terms that you need to know. So feel free to email me, Randall at oddsjam.com, and I will send that over to you. You can take a look at that. More than happy to answer any questions you have. Again, be sure to sign up for all of the sports books in your state. If you're unsure what they are, they're in the link below this video. Click those, take advantage of the sign-up bonuses. If you don't know how to take advantage of them, again, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. I will walk you through it. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I will see you tomorrow on the live stream to place some bets, and we will be back for NFL Conference Championship preview tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern, live on the YouTube channel here at OddsJam. Thanks, guys.